Everything seemed to be going just phenomenal. We had won our section for golf. We were just transitioning into basketball season, which at the time, basketball was my favorite sport. I was the starting point guard of the varsity basketball team. I was dating a cheerleader, and everything seemed to be going great. That right there was a lightning bolt of shock, where I don't know how at the age of 17 you're supposed to handle anything like that, but so many thoughts ran through my head just in that moment. But it was such a low, such a rock bottom type of moment where everything had been going so good and it came crashing down in an instant. That was my pull hook moment, and throughout life it always felt like I was just carrying baggage along with me. Wasn't depression, I would say, but it was almost like an avoidance. I don't want to deal with this. And again, I would break down and start crying if I ever had to talk about it. Welcome everybody to The Pull Hook, an evolution of the Pull Hook Golf podcast where golf is no longer the destination. It's still going to be very much a part of the show, but it's more so about the moment rather than about an analysis or anything along those lines with the game of professional golf. So for everybody who has been a Pull Hook Golf listener, thank you for being an audience member, and thank you for coming over and listening to the new podcast, The Pull Hook. But this is all about those pull hook moments in life. I'm going to be interviewing and having conversations with experts, leaders, founders, regular individuals, but at the same time, professional athletes as well, talking about the pull hook moment that resonated within their life or within their sport, and that moment, how they persevered, how they overcame it. But the pull hook, just so that you know, it was my big miss in the game of golf. When I played professionally and I was under pressure, that was the shot that came out. That was the round ruiner. It was like a lightning bolt of shock going through my entire body when that shot would come out. It was almost disbelief. It was the identity shaker. It was the confidence remover. And all of a sudden, it's like, where do I go from here? It is such a shocking golf shot. And towards the end of last season of the Pull Hook Golf podcast, I had 3 interviews with Marty Sanchez, Terrence Daniels, and Christian Heavens, in which I asked that question: what's your pull hook moment? And we saw that within the game of golf, 2 out of the 3 ended up having pull hooks themselves, and in big, crucial moments that seemed to ruin everything. However, they survived, they persevered, they overcame, and now they're achieving success within their lives, whether it's writing a book, playing in a professional tour, or otherwise. For me, and this is where we're going to get a little bit personal on this first show, and I think what you're going to take from the show overall, obviously I haven't recorded all of the episodes for this season, and those are going to be coming one at a time. And it's going to be a living, breathing podcast rather than something that is defined. So every story is going to be a little bit different. And I don't even know what we're ultimately going to find at the end of all of this, but I'm curious in order to find out, right? But for me, you look at the logo of this particular podcast, you might be going, what the hell is that thing? Well, for one, that is a logo of integration, okay? Where that encompasses my pull hook moment in life. The Sonoran desert toad that is on top. The Bufo light coming from its mouth. And I'll talk about all of this in just a second. I'll explain it further. And then the golf ball at the bottom, the underbelly, which I used to think was my identity. I used to think, man, without golf, who am I? And recently, I started to discover what alignment really feels like. And then what purpose is there behind all of this? And that's where it goes beyond the game of golf. Sure, the game of golf has been a part of my life. It's still going to be a part of the show. ongoing, as we're going to be talking, like I said, with experts, with other professional athletes, with professional golfers as well. But we're going to go beyond that too. But the logo, that stands for what I've been through with my pull hook moment. And I'm going to start off with why the toad, why the Bufo Alvarius like light, why the underbelly of the golf ball. And I want to take you on a little journey back over 20 years ago, where I was a senior in high school. Everything seemed to be going just phenomenal. We had won our section for golf. We were just transitioning into basketball season, which at the time, basketball was my favorite sport. I was the starting point guard of the varsity basketball team. I was dating a cheerleader, and everything seemed to be going great. Well, one morning in November, everything changed. It was the pull hook moment, where in class, and I remember this vividly, I get called out by the guidance counselor to come to his office. And he actually walked out, pulled me out of class, walked me to his office, and then sat me down and let me know my girlfriend had been in a car accident. Not explaining how serious it was or anything. And at the time, I wasn't thinking too much of it. And he's like, we've got to go to the hospital. I'm going to drive you there. So he's like, let's get in the car. And her little brother was with me in the car and trying to keep the situation light. Few jokes here and there. Oh yeah, she's a bad driver. You know, she's had a car accident in the past. What could it be this time? Man, oh man, her mom and dad are going to kill her. Well, when we got to the hospital, we found out how serious it was. She had severed her brainstem. And I still remember the doctor coming in very cold and just saying, she severed her brainstem and she's non-functioning. She's dead. Go in and say your goodbyes. That right there was a lightning bolt of shock, where I don't know how at the age of 17 you're supposed to handle anything like that, but so many thoughts ran through my head just in that moment. But it was such a low, such a rock bottom type of moment where everything had been going so good and it came crashing down in an instant. Going in and into the hospital room, seeing her lying there, she didn't have a mark on her. Looked completely normal. For a day, they kept her alive. Parents wanted to see if, for some reason, you know, could spark some type of something, of brain activity in some way. Because it just didn't seem real. Didn't feel real. And ultimately, it was unsuccessful. Through the funeral, through everything, I was a wreck. I was destroyed in a lot of ways. And as I think back, I went into a very deep depression. Started seeing psychiatrists. They put me on antidepressants. And during that time, it's just kind of a bit of a fog through that period, where then I had to start playing varsity basketball. I had to pretend like nothing happened. And I ended up breaking down mid-season, where I was just like, an overwhelming sensation came across me. And I told my parents, which we lived in New York, I'm like, I have to go see my grandma in Arizona. My grandmother was very spiritual. And I just had this overwhelming sensation that I had to go out there for some healing. And we want to give a special shout out and thanks to our sponsors over at Stark Health. Folks, this is the team that's been behind my entire health and fitness transformation. Over 30 pounds and 10% of body fat later. It's been an incredible transformation, not to mention how much muscle that I've put on in addition to all of that. but I couldn't have done it without the team over at Stark Health, because it is a holistic approach with a team of naturopathic doctors, nutritionists, neuromuscular chiropractors, and personal trainers. They all have one goal in mind: to work together to get your health and fitness to the next level. So if you're serious about taking that next step in your health and fitness, reach out to stark.health. That's STARK.health for more information. Now a quick word from our sponsors, Devereux Golf. Folks, did you know by being a Pull Hook Golf listener that you get 20% off over at DevereuxGolf.com? Just utilize the promo code PullHookGolf20 at checkout for 20% off your entire order at DevereuxGolf.com. They are changing the game when it comes to golf style. Whether it's on the golf course, off the golf course, and everything in between. Not only that, they got some awesome hats, head covers, putter covers, and more. Folks, get over to DevereuxGolf.com, because the best part is it's affordable, and now it gets even more affordable with the promo code PullHookGolf20 at checkout. This episode is brought to you by WMP Eyewear, and these have become my everyday go-to sunglasses. What I like about WMP is it's simple, designer quality eyewear without the insane markup. Their Fairway collection, this is built for the golf course. All the golf listeners out there, polarized lenses, 100% UV protection, anti-reflective, smudge-resistant coating, and a secure fit that actually stays put when you're playing. And every style within the Fairway collection is under $70. I've been wearing the Wyndham style, which was made with PGA Tour winner Wyndham Clark, but they've got options for on and off of the golf course. If you want high-quality eyewear that performs without overpaying, use code PULLHOOK20 for 20% off at WMPeyewear.com. So that was my first step in kind of the healing process, but that was not the end all be all. Went back, finished the basketball season after being a month in Arizona, staying away, and then coming right back into the fold and finishing out my senior year before going off to college and kind of trying to push everything out of the way and just start kind of moving on. And in a lot of ways, I didn't handle what took place. I didn't go in and work on the things that needed to be worked on. I wanted to avoid it at all costs. And over the course of 20 plus years, if you were to ask me about that situation, I mean, I barely talked about it. I couldn't talk about it without breaking down. So that was my pull hook moment. And throughout life, it always felt like I was just carrying baggage along with me. Wasn't depression, I would say, but it was almost like an avoidance. I don't want to deal with this. And again, I would break down and start crying if I ever had to talk about it. Now, you're probably wondering, well, why aren't you bawling and crying right now? Well, because a few years ago, I ended up going down to Tulum in Mexico, and at the same sanctuary as Mike Tyson, of all people, I ended up going through a Bufo Alvarius experience. Now, I had done a lot of research ahead of time by John Hopkins Research, and started looking into what's known as 5-MeO-DMT. This is not something that I take lightly. It's not something that I sit here and I'm like advocating for or anything along those lines. But for me, it was the right time to let the baggage go. And I was desperate in a lot of ways to move beyond that. Bufo Alvarius comes from the Sonoran desert toad that you see in the logo. And if anybody knows what this is, it is, I want to say it's something like 100 times stronger than DMT or something along those lines. Like, it is the strongest psychedelic in the world, to my knowledge. And you have this ceremony with a shaman in a teepee. You die, which people call an ego death. So you leave your human ego, and it really kind of rips it out of you. You go, you meet the creator, and you come back. So that's what that light in the toad's mouth is. When you come back, you no longer have that. It's like a rebirth. You know all the things that took place. You're the same person. It's just you're rebirthed. You don't hold on to those same emotions. That baggage was completely lifted. And I'm like, man, I am good now. And I had never been calmer in my life than for the months after that experience. And it taught me a lot. But I didn't fully integrate back into everything until recently, which there were some integration pieces along the way. I've got to thank Brandon Epstein, for instance, who is a mental performance coach who has gone through a Bufo Alvarius experience himself. And I worked with him quite a bit. He helped me out a lot of kind of taking that first step into reintegration, because essentially if you do nothing after that experience, you end up falling back into the same programming that you had from your childhood. You end up going back through some of the same things that you might not have liked about yourself. And what's crazy is I did it, and it was right during the season when I was doing the show with Bobby Brown. And you can go back to old episodes and find when I talk about coming back and from that experience and what I experienced. But it wasn't until recently that I fully reintegrated, because there was the mind aspect to it. There was the soul aspect to it, but the body side to it, which if you look at alignment, and where there's a lot of people out there that are experts within these different fields. I'm not claiming that I am an expert by any means, but I'm somebody that likes to learn. And so for me, learning that the full alignment doesn't come until you have mind, body, and soul. Stark Health. And you guys, if you get a chance, go check out Health is a Skill with the host, Todd Vandehei. They recently had me on. You're going to see this episode coming out. Maybe it coincides with this episode. I'm not quite sure. It might be a week later. But you're going to see and hear all the impact that that program has had for me, which you have a full holistic team of naturopathic doctors, nutritionists, neuromuscular chiropractors, personal trainers. And I didn't realize how bad my body and my health was. And going through that experience, I was able to get into what I refer to now as full alignment. And it really awakened me to the point to where I'm like, man, what I'm doing with this show is not what I want to be doing. I want to be impacting people's lives. I don't want to just be pure entertainment. And so that's where this journey with this new show started to come up. And in working with Dr. Lee Piccarello, who is a sports psychologist and just an incredible performance coach as well. And in working with him, we started talking about, what does pull hook golf stand for? We started talking about the pull hook moment. And that's where in the last 3 interviews of last year, you end up hearing me ask that question. Because I wanted to start to dig in and start to really have some deeper conversations. And what I found through those moments is that, wow, I'm not the only one that goes through a pull hook moment. Almost everybody that I've talked to has gone through a pull hook moment in one shape or form. You know, that's why I want to have these conversations. I want to empower people to share their stories and how they persevered and overcame everything. So mine just took place over the course of 20 plus years, where I was finally free from everything that happened, the trauma that happened. Like, it was nobody's fault as to what took place in my life. But it was a shock, that lightning bolt as I talk about. And I experienced that within the game of golf as well. And what's crazy is golf to me is really a mirror of life. Might have heard me say it in the past, say it before, but to me it really is. Because there's so many things that happen in golf that happen in people's lives. And when you go out and you play golf with somebody, you can actually see firsthand what's going on with them, because it shows frustration, it shows anger, it shows patience, it shows calm. It's an art form. You really get to know somebody by going out and playing around a golf with them. Maybe things that they haven't ever said to you before. You start to see within their golf games. So again, pull hook and the pull hook moment is what's going to be the biggest part of this particular show. And I can't wait to start having some of these conversations. Because even in just talking about going through this rebrand, you wouldn't believe the number of people that have been like, oh my gosh, I've had a pull hook moment. Would you have me on the show? And so those stories we're going to get as well, because that is what I want to bring to the table. And I want to see, what is this theme across all of the people that I interview? And obviously, in talking with experts and leaders and founders and athletes, these are going to be some high-performing individuals. It's going to be something that we're going to find a thread that kind of is found within everybody's story, I feel like. Because we're all interconnected. And that's the one thing that I can tell you from that Bufo Alvarius experience, is you start to realize we're all one. And that's what's pretty cool about this experience, is that we're going to bring home all these stories into one form. And I hope that it's powerful. I hope there's something that you can take away from it that empowers you, that allows you to become better within your life, sport, game of golf, whatever it may be. But hopefully it helps you. And that's the goal behind this podcast. And for me, it's all about learning. I want to learn about other people. I want to learn about the experiences that they've been through. I want to learn how they got through those tough moments. Hopefully there's some things that I'm going to learn along the way too. So as a learner, this is exciting to me, and why the show has evolved down this path. Because again, it wasn't until recently that I started becoming more and more integrated around realizing what is important to me, for me, and what do I want to learn, and where do I want to go with all of this. And so nobody's alone out there. And I want you to know that you are not alone. We've all been through a pull hook moment, and the pull hook will never define us, but it may shape us. I look forward each and every week to learning just like you are. Welcome to the Pull Hook.